Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Paps, a right-scene VTuber and an artist, and today we're going to be working on page 13. That's right, last night, I finished page 12, so now we're on to page 13, because that's how numbers work. Hang on, I gotta... Hang on. If you hear typing noises, that's because I forgot to make the going live post. I swear, that's still the hardest part out of all of this. I don't want to automate them because I feel like I'll get too ambitious and try to like automate them like 900 days in advance or something. And then I'll be like out sick or eating a burger somewhere, probably not even aware of what's happening. Then come back 3 months later and like, I had a stream announcement planned? I don't know. It just feels. Not to mention, I would have to be planning stuff more than 1 week in advance, which is a big ask of me. I don't often do that for my streams. I do that for a lot of things. I don't do that for my streams for sure. In the meantime, though, let's get started on this. All right. So I think note number one is that we are going to have to get rid of those action lines. I hate having to do this because every single time it happens, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to get rid of them later, but then I make them anyways because I need them there. You know, it feels weird if they're not there. I can't like fathom it. I don't know. I guess the most accurate way to put it is like it's like phantom limb, right? Or like I can understand that it's supposed, like my brain thinks that it should be there, but it's like causing me distress because it's not actually there. Hey Cypress, how you guys doing? I'm Babs, a rising VTuber and an artist. We just got started on this. How was your stream? You were playing the one with Aqua in it, Birth by Sleep. Did you have fun? The one with Aqua in it, right? Yeah. Immediately better. Crazy how that happens when you have a playable female protagonist. Really easy. It's like you would think more games would try to do that and just like have that option in there at some point. It's like an underhand throw. It's really easy to do. But nah. Yeah, Aqua being there is the most important dad. Fuck Venice and fucking Tortoise Shell, or whatever the fuck their names are. Aqua is the real start of this show. Ay. I wish I knew more single syllable words that start with T, because I forgot I didn't have a good one for Terra. Do they just throw you into it with how they do just throw you into it with how many systems there are right at the beginning though? Oh yeah? I can imagine that being the case. I feel like the thing with like long running video game franchises is that they keep like enhancing, either they completely rework the system or they add some new kind of complication to it one way or another. You know, some kind of quirk to it to make to you know, give people who are coming back a fresh thing to work on. But I feel like when the game in question is like Kingdom Hearts, which is already, I don't know, I feel like Kingdom Hearts, for all the weak moments in its gameplay sometimes and some of the more questionable story beats, I do think Kingdom Hearts has some of the most inventive methods for upgrading your character, like the chip system for 358 over 2 days. I've seen very few games do something like that. It feels very interesting. Conceptually, it fascinates me. Practically, I feel like I need like an Excel sheet to keep up. I'm not good with things that are too complicated. I will readily admit to this. Complex game systems are the jam of many people, but not mine. Also, I need to be working against a gray background. I'm gonna hurt my eyes if I keep working against pure white. There we go. Yeah. The thing is, right, I feel like pure white works better if you're showing it off to other people. Like if it's on stream, right? I feel like pure white works better but I feel like that's also, I don't know. I don't know how much people feel affected by that. That might be just my own kind of like tendency to overhandle things. Like, you know how when things aren't going right, you just try to do everything that you can, even if you know it might not be the most helpful thing to do. I don't know. Sometimes when you don't know where to go next, you just try to do what you can with what you have control of, and sometimes that just doesn't work out. So, for example, I do have control over what background color I use for my layout. But broadly speaking, I'm not. I don't know if that's that important, but it is one thing that I have control over. I don't know. I feel like I'm definitely kind of among the graphic design is my passion kind of contingent of DIY people. I feel like I've had a few bangers, but I do feel like that is something that I could stand to make stronger in the future. That, or at least get a bigger repertoire of references. I don't know. Sometimes it feels like I'm borrowing from like two or three sources when, and because of that limitation, I often end up not in the best position. Maybe I limit my own, not choices necessarily, but the options that I have unwittingly by not introducing more references into my. I want to say the gut flora of my mind. I think that's just my brain. I think that's just my thoughts, my mind. Period. I don't know. I feel like your brain does have gut flora, but like it's almost like a flower bed, right? Like you need to have a variety of nutrients. I think you could just say brain, but that's a much more fun way to describe it. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like brain might lack the nuance that I'm trying to go for. I don't know. I maybe there's an even better way to phrase it. But yeah, that's the best way I could think of it as. Your brain gut flora. You know how like if you just watch nothing but TikToks or really short form content, it eventually erodes your attention span to like get like sandblasting a salt block. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of like where I'm getting at it. I guess attention span. Well, no, that's not the right phrase. Internal library. Mind Palace is definitely something I could use, but I'm not going to use that. Who's going to be the first streamer to bite the bullet and get a Mind Palace toggle for their model? My money's on Iron Mail. She gets all kinds of models done, so I feel like at some point she's going to be able to get like an approximation of the Mind Palace. She might already have. I don't know. I don't keep up with her too much. Although it does feel like Zen's been getting a whole lot of new models too. I think some of the Myth Hololive girls are also getting some new models. I'm very excited for Cronies. It looks like she has some kind of like suit jacket on her new one, so I'm really excited to see what hers does. I don't know. New outfits are always super exciting to me. I feel like it creates like a whole new realm of possibilities, especially when the talents have a lot of say in it, because you can see kind of. I think this is discussed often that the kind of starting outfits that they have often are more tied to the character, but then their second outfits usually have a lot more of their own personality in there. And then there's me, the guy who literally has like a 2 frame animation. 3 frame actually. 3 frame animation for all his stuff, so he can just make it new outfits whenever he wants. I could be debuting as a water boy tomorrow, and y'all would be none of the wiser. I'm not going to become a Waterboy VTuber. That's. I mean, I believe in the importance of hydrating, but I'm not. I don't know. I feel like I would not. Water boys, I feel, have like a certain degree of chivalry and responsibility to them that I feel I am not qualified to replicate. Water it up. Mm-hmm. That's gonna be, that's gonna be Tool's second outfit when she starts streaming. God, I really gotta start planning more for the Tool stream. I haven't done any planning for that, and it's like on the radar. It's on the horizon. The distance is closing. It's cresting the hill. I can hear the drum like beat of the horses of the cavalry coming up through and ringing out throughout the valley. Okay, and just some more here and there. Whoops. I don't. Something happened there. Hang on. I think I see what it is. Somebody left the gate open here. Okay, then over here. Okay, what else we got? The gun. God, it must have been super crazy to to have to be the guy to introduce gunpowder to your homies. Like, like obviously being the guy to introduce a gun would have had to be pretty weird. But I'm kind of thinking about the guy who had to introduce the concept of gunpowder. He's like, "All right, boss. Now listen, hear me out. All right, sulfur plus petered salt, and now I have this foul-smelling powdered sugar that explodes if you hit it too hard." Huh? Huh? I don't know. I feel like whoever would have been in charge of that guy would have been like, should I fire this guy or should I see where he goes with this? Like, I feel like that would have been a tough decision. Like he's gonna be like, he's talking like a crazy person, but that does sound pretty sick. I don't know. Sometimes you're like, okay, yeah, I can see how they found that out. But other times it's like, okay, so this guy just combined this random salt, this very random, very specific kind of salt, and also sulfur, which I can kind of understand. You know, I think sulfur does have some properties that let it ignite itself easily, or something. I know that sulfur is very often associated with fire. It really is crazy. It's a little crazy how on the nose a lot of the symbolism for gunpowder is. Oh, okay, so you're telling me that this pitch black, foul smelling, noxious fume emitting powder, which you made by taking salt, one of the most pure substances, petering that shit. I don't even know what petering salt means. I don't know what the difference between table salt and petered salt is. I'm guessing a guy named Peter punches it. That's my best guess. Actually, I do. I know it might. I'm calling it petered salt because I thought that was like a fancy name for saltpeter. I don't know. I'm gonna Google something real quick. Hang on. Oh, it's potassium nitrate. That's okay. Now the pieces come together. All right, hang on. Alright, check this out. Saltpeter redirects here. See saltpeter disambiguation. Okay. The chemical potassium was first isolated by the chemist Sir Humphrey Davy from potash. Oh, that's saltpeter, the guy who made salt. Yeah, the guy who invented salt, saltpeter. All right. An early method of extracting various potassium salts by placing an iron pot, the ash of burnt wood or tree leaves, adding water, heating and evaporating the solution. Oh, so maybe it's a little bit like lye, but burnt. As for nitrate, Hebrew and Egyptian words for it had the consonants NTR, indicating likely cognation from the Greek nitron, which was Latinized to nitrum or nitrium. The Old French had niter, and the English middle niter. Okay. By 15th century, Europeans referred to it as saltpeter, specifically Indian salt. Is that alright? Is that an L or okay? No, that's a fuck at that. Okay, Indian saltpeter. Chilean saltpeter is sodium nitrate. What do you mean? That's nitrate? Wait, so then where the fuck did Peter come from? PETA? Wait. No, wait, why? Lots going on at Salt fandom. No kidding. Wait, so then why? Who's Peter? When did Peter come into play? Hang on. Peter. Saltpeter, saltpeter, saltpeter. Hold on. The South was so desperate for saltpeter for gunpowder that one Alabama official reportedly placed a newspaper ad asking if the contents of chamber pots be saved for collection. That's fucking dire. Historically, nitric acid is produced by combining sulfuric acid nitrates such as saltpeter. In modern times, this is reversed. Nitrates are produced from nitric acid produced via the Ostwald process. Folklore and popular culture. So, where? Huh? Where did Peter come from? Saltpeter etymology. Come on. Petrius? Very hard, dense, from the Old French petros, and directly from Latin petrosus. From Petra? Okay. Oh, wait, here we go. Potassium nitrate, from Old French salpetre, from medieval Latin salpetrae, salt of rock. Salt of rock is salt, though. What? Okay. From Latin sal plus petra, rock/stone. So called because it looks like salt encrusted on rock and has a saline taste. I love Pab Stream's wiki. Yeah, rock salt. Rock is salt. Love Pab Stream wiki rabbit holes. I'm fascinated by so many things. Okay, so it's literally just salt rock. Because it looks like salt encrusted on rock and has a saline taste. You were eating it! You know what? I'm not even mad. Who gives a fuck? That's not my problem to fix. If they want to eat it, what do I care? Not my stomach tract, not my problem. People eat all sorts of things. Right, I'm aware of that. But like we've established that this is like burnt ash water that was collected and like boiled. Geologists do mainly discern rocks by taste. All right, you know what that makes that grants some more fairness in my eyes. Flash forward to the future where they put your brain/rice bag in a computer and you become one with the wiki. God, that would be epic. I really hope that happens. Kinda, maybe. Not trying to monkey spot this situation, but I feel like I would be low key hyped if that were the case. I kind of do want to be a wiki. I do. I think I would enjoy that. All right, let's see. Pins. Let's call this grenade pins because this is we're supposed to have a bunch of the grenade pins being tossed out. I forgot the kiss mark on page 12. All right, hold up. Real quick, let's go back and give Hawk the kiss mark that she has in page 11, I want to say. I mean, I don't know. There's worse things to be than a wiki, you know? I hope when people start getting brain uploaded and get their brains turned into wiki, they get to have fun little comments on each article, kind of like dust loops. Okay, Paps, what's the origin of the word beast? I don't know about that, but I do know a lot about beasts. Would you like to hear about a beast? Yes or no? I actually don't know the etymology of the word beast. Let me look that up real quick. It might be from. It's probably from Old English because I think in Latin it didn't. Hang on. I don't think Latin has. Would it be more like criatura? All right, let's see. Beast, noun. Circa 12,000, beste, one of the lower animals, opposed to man, especially a four-footed animal. Also, a marvelous creature, a monster. A brutish or stupid man, fair. Animal, wild beast, figuratively fool, idiot. From Vulgar Latin besta, bestia. Oh no, it was Latin. My fault. Right, okay, I should have remembered that. I thought criatura at first, but then I forgot that bestia is literally like 1-to-1. That's that on my face. That's my bad. The word was used in Middle English to translate Latin animal. Oh, I forgot about that. That word also comes from Latin. I am fucking up on etymology. I'm gonna get a bad grade in trivia knowledge. Something that is absolutely possible to accomplish, and regularly occurs. It displaced Old English deer as the generic word for wild creature, only to be ousted by animal. Damn. All right. So beast had a pretty good run, being the kind of catch-all term for wild animal. This is why they're putting you in the computer. That's right. I'm gonna be like that one. What do you call? Hang on. I gotta find which layer I was on. This is the wrong folder. Yeah, I'm gonna be like the one. I really do think I would be the best machine learning model basis. Like if they try to put my brain in a computer, I would definitely be the best one for that one. I'm smart enough to say when I don't know stuff, and also I love learning a random shit. Is that going the same direction? Yeah. Actually, we can probably just use the finger smudge. Yeah. Forget about ChatGPT. Forget about frickin' Grok or whatever the fuck that is. What you really need is a good old Pabs. Bring your questions to me. I will solve your problems. As long as your problem doesn't break the laws of physics, I think I might still be beholden to those for the most part. Well, nobody's perfect. What's the best way to cook steak? Oh, that one I can't answer. All right, so make sure, first of all, if it's not a particularly good cut of steak, you're gonna want to tenderize that sucker a little bit. Maybe even marinate it, because with some marination types, you can actually use it to soften the meat. I think there's also methods of brining the steak, but I'm not sure how well that works for meat. I haven't tried that with steak yet. I've tried that with chicken, and it works pretty well. I really recommend trying to cook chicken marinated at least once or twice. It has a really unique taste. But going back to the topic of cooking a good steak, you are going to want to. This is also a question of how much you're willing to overhandle the sucker. Because theoretically, the best way is to sear that sucker with butter and oil. You get a little butter going, you get that butter cooking, then you pour some oil in to stop the butter from burning, I believe. And then you huck in the steak, make sure that it's seared, and then you take out the steak after 2 or 3 minutes, depending on the thickness of the steak. I won't be able to help you regarding how long to cook it for. You're going to need to make a little bit of a judgment call for that. But broadly speaking, once you've seared both sides, you want to finish that thing off in the oven to preserve the moisture. Make sure to use plastic foil or else it'll be all dry on the outside and it'll be kind of yucky. This is your demo reel for in 20 years when we're able to upload people into computers. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how I'd feel. Like I joke, but I don't know how I would feel about being in a computer forever. I'm sure eventually I'd be like, no, wait, put me in. I want to live forever. But like, I don't know. Maybe let me get a little bit more disillusioned with mortality first, and then we can talk putting me in a computer. I don't know. I feel like I'm not cynical enough about living to be uploaded to a computer just yet. Being a robot does sound pretty cool, but I'm gonna enjoy my flesh while it lasts. I still haven't voided my warranty, so to speak. So I kind of want to see how far I can take it until that happens. But yeah, 20 years might actually be. Well, this isn't 20 years. Jupiter did say in about 20 years or so. So I do reckon maybe by then I'll have grown sufficiently disillusioned with the concept of mortality to seek a way towards permanent life. I don't know. I might try liquid mercury. I heard that worked for one guy. Or maybe it didn't work for him, and that's why everybody remembers. I don't know. Eventually, video games will become real. Unfortunately, many video games are about the apocalypse / post-apocalypse. What a shame. I don't look too good in leather. I'm definitely gonna get laughed out at the post-apocalypse survivor camp. Scientists studying the question, wait, if Pabs can respawn, can Pabs die? I can in fact die. It's very easy. You just have to destroy the sun. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say easy. It's very simple. If you want to kill me, you're gonna have to destroy the sun first. And if that's too much of a hassle, first you'll have to get rid of all the rice. Your call. Between you and me, I think getting rid of rice might be the easier option, but you'll have to face a lot of backlash. Yeah, I got some billions left. I got a few one-ups. I got a few extra lives waiting in the wings. Approximately, hang on, let me Google how much rice was produced in 2023. Rice statistics. Okay, let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Rice production by country 2024. Let's take a look here. What would be your ideal post-apocalypse game world to inhabit? None of them, ideally. I don't want to live in the post-apocalypse. I'd rather there not be an apocalypse. But if I had to pick one, Splatoon. I don't know, I feel like the Splatoon world got a pretty sweet deal, all things considered. Sentient life is still around. Being fresh seems to be the driving force of collective effort. I feel like that one would be pretty sweet. They're all funky little freaks, that's right. Listen, you ask 1 in 10 random Splatoon squid people, right? If they're dissatisfied with anything in their lives, none of them are gonna say, "Oh, I'm worried about I can't make rent next week. Oh, I'm worried that I don't have enough friends. Oh, I'm worried that I'm gonna die alone. Oh, I'm worried about the fact that I know about the one existing dinosaur and it's coming after me. They're all like, "Oh, I kind of wish I had more sneakers." That's their problems. That's pretty great. That's a pretty good deal. Like their fucking Norway would be trounced by the average Squidopolis resident's happiness index. You're an expert on how Melee After the World Ends can in fact be difficult to execute. Yep. You'll be around the right height to be tall in Splatoon World, right? I'd be decently big. Not huge, but decently big. I'd be on the tall side, I think. I mean, I don't know. Hang on. How big Splatoon squid? Let's see. Centimeter tall? I don't think it says how big they are. But a bear is like a huge. I think like in one of the Splatoon games, there's a bear running around it. He's pretty big. Some of the idols have cannon heights, and they're like normal. Oh, well, that's handy. In that case, yeah, I'll be like average height then. Maybe a little bit shorter. I'm seeing that Inklings come up to the handles on doors for humans. All right, then yeah, I'm gonna be normal sized for them. That'll be a nice change of pace. I've been worried recently that I've been bothering too many people to reach stuff on the top shelf or lend me their shoulder so I can climb up to grab the things that I need from the supermarket. It'll be nice not to have to worry about that. Also, I guess that also means that squidlings are basically the perfect height to run smack dab into door handles. I think that's a pretty funny image. like, could you imagine one of them just like running smack dab into like a door handle and being like, 0.5 to 0.7 meters tall? Yeah, no, then I'd be a little bit taller than those guys. Just a tiny bit. Not a giant by any means, but definitely like on the tall side. Like if I was at a random squid event, I would be, where will you be during a random squid event? But yeah, if I was just at a random event, they would be like, "Wow, do you play basketball?" It'd be that kind of thing. I would be like freakishly tall, but definitely like, "Do you play basketball?" Random squid event. Yep. The random squid event, also known as the Kraken attack. It'll be fucked up if the one thing that is actually real in the future is krakens. It'll be super fucked up if like the one living species in space is like a giant space squid that wants to eat things. I mean, it could be worse. It could be like some kind of gigantic snake demon, but I feel like giant space squid is pretty bad. Are those freaky salmon safe to eat? I'll go ham in Splatoon World and I can touch water. You know what? That would be pretty nice. The salmon actually want to be eaten. It's part of their culture. Holy shit. I might have not. Forgive me, Splatoon Salmon. I was not familiar with your game. That's hardcore as fuck. Like, like, do you think like maybe the salmon and Splatoon all kind of like chill out together, and occasionally like, "Hey, Bobby, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And Bobby's just like sitting down, looking at the stars, and just like head supported by his hands, lying on a field of grass, is like, I think I'd like to be a sashimi platter. They want to die in ritualistic combat. I can understand that. Call me the bear because I'm fucking cooking and salmon is on the menu tonight. Hell yes. You can never really go wrong with a little bit of salmon steak. I do think good salmon, salmon as a cut of meat is pretty hard to fuck up. Like even if you don't season it too much, you just use a basic salt, pepper. That's still a pretty decent cut of meat. I guess the same could be true of most good cuts of meat, but I feel like salmon is, it's hard to do bad salmon. You'd have to use some kind of like crazy out there condiment or something to ruin the experience. The only way you can fuck up salmon is making it too dry, and you can fix that with sauce. Precisely. Ideally, a little bit of teriyaki on that bad boy. That's my preference, at least. I feel like I don't eat enough. The thing is, I like teriyaki sauce just fine, but I feel like I don't eat it nearly enough for a dude who proponents it so heavily. I'm a teriyaki sauce poser. Hmm. Not sure about this orange just yet. Yo, this hot pink is actually kind of doing it for me. Maybe. I want to try something real quick. Where is a? Always here for some hot pink. Hot pink really does do a lot. I feel like we don't appreciate that enough. Oh wait, yeah, one of these. All right, shrink that up, and then move that over maybe here. This one feels a little rough. Maybe one of these. Whoa! All right, hold up. This might be. I do like that half toning. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. Maybe that's too low of a frequency. Maybe a little bit higher. That is such a weird looking effect. Have you ever like seen those sunglasses that instead of being lenses, they have like holes in them? This reminds me a lot of those. That being said, I feel like that's not quite the right answer. I don't know. Maybe. Hang on. Let me mess around with like, some of these angle things. Like, what's this one do? Oh, does that mess with the direction of the actual half tone dots? It does. I didn't know we had control over that. That's kind of cool. Interesting. Okay. Oh, and these ones are the different. Okay, I see. Flower thin. Oh, that's kind of cute. All right, let's just stick to circles for the time being. Hmm. All right, this might be something. It might also be a. I don't know. Maybe. I'm having some conflicting thoughts about where to place this. I kind of do want it, but I don't know if it's what's best. In terms of the color, though, we might be able to futz around a little bit with that to make it look better. Bigger or smaller? Alright, I got another idea for how to mess around with this. Plonk both of these in a folder, copy and paste, and now we can mess around with color gradients. I don't know how useful that'll be since it's just 2 tones, but we might find something interesting. Actually, the gray also looks kind of nice with it. Having it be light yellow is kind of nice too. I feel like if we do too warm of a color with too yellow of a color, it does look a little bit like the Looney Tunes "That's all, folks" message. Although I am very partial to this one. I do like what's going on with this one. Hmm. Oh, this is kind of funky. I like this one. This is just a really cool effect generally here. I love this. It's always nice to get a chance to do halftoning a little bit. You know, throw a little bit of halftoning on that beast. Hmm. I like this one because it indicates a little bit of alarm, but we already tried doing bright red background on that last panel, and it didn't go so great. Noxious green feels kind of interesting, but that's not kind of what we're looking for. All right, I think it's kind of between this one here and this one here. And between those two, I feel like the one that I want more is this one. I feel like it's just much more vibrant. All right, and now I'm going to go ahead and just make this part here a solid color. How's it going to look if I do that also here? Gonna look weird? A little bit, yeah. All right, let's not do that then. Another thing we can also do just real quick. Let's make this kind of like this bluish color. Or maybe even, hang on. I'm going to try something real quick and see what happens. Oh. Okay. We have to add a few fixes here, but I feel like that also helps a little bit with the readability of it. Yeah, the thing about halftoning is that it's fun to use and it's fun to look at the effects. It makes you feel very graphic designery to use it. I don't know. The thing is, I wasn't old enough to learn about like Ben-Day dots or halftoning as a method of technical production before it was digitized. So I never had like the proper appreciation for like, oh, this is like, you know, all printed media is just actually really small dots. I didn't really appreciate that until much later. So for me, what I actually associated with the most is graphic design, because for some reason, a lot of graphic design has these halftone dots and these bende dots. I feel like we've lost a certain sort of design language. I feel like now we all know about those like very blobby like the modern very blobby kind of corporate art style de jour, right? But I feel like there was like this brief period where there was like this very maximalist approach to graphic design where it had there was this one Coke bottle ad. Hang on. Coke bottle butterfly flying out. Okay, I'm getting results for like somebody's handicraft butterfly made out of Coca-Cola cans, which is very cool, but not what I'm looking for. Maybe how about oh, here we go. Like this one. I remember a lot of ads from like this era being very much like they deployed Bende dots or halftoning for some reason. I don't know why. I guess it's probably because of some influences from that one dude with the soup cans. I was about to say Bruce Campbell, but one, that's not the guy. Two, Campbell is just like the name of the soup brand. It's not the Liechtenstein, Roy Lichtenstein, or Liechtenstein. I don't know, what one of those. But yeah, Roy Lichtenstein really popularized the idea of like blowing up halftone dots or Bende dots in the printings that he basically ripped off and blew up really really high into really big pictures. I'm still not sure what the consensus is on Liechtenstein. I think a lot of people will agree that like he had some interesting ideas, but like also I don't think he credited the I don't remember if he actually like made the panels himself or he took the panels from actual comics and didn't credit the original artist of the panels. In which case, that does make him a pretty big fraud in my eyes. I don't know. It's interesting how a lot of the language of pop culture stuff, people are like that doesn't belong in art. That's not art. I feel like a lot of people have adopted a more, video games are art mindset, for example. You didn't see that a lot growing up, but it's become more and more of a vocal standpoint or viewpoint rather. But I feel like at the same time, a lot of like quote unquote nerdy stuff is still not that respected, but it is appropriated in like the context of modern art. Like for example, pixel art or NFTs and whatnot. I don't know. I might be onto nothing. I feel like there's like the idea that hold on, why can't I do this? Oh, it's because I'm on the wrong tool. Like there's this idea that like quote unquote uncultured stuff can be elevated to the status of high art by the right hands, but I don't know. I feel like I see that a lot, but I don't have any evidence to support it generally. I think I don't know. People will do what they want. Okay, we have 6 grenades here, and we need 6 rings. I always think of that one tweet that where somebody spilled like their onion rings or like an actual gold ring, and I was like, "Damn, Sonic, you okay?" Ay, ay, ay. I feel like if I was in that situation, any kind of not necessarily remorse, distress that I would have experienced from the event would have been instantly wiped out by my reaction, just going like, "What the fuck did you just say?" All right, we need another one. You know, in the absence of short term immediate attention, wrathful indignation feels like it could be a pretty effective substitute to cure what ails you. Okay. Now we're gonna grab the millipen brush. Use the outline once again, and now we should be able to make super basic grenade pins. Just a little bit of wrath as a treat. Yeah, just a tiny bit. You don't want to tip the hand with the wrath. You know, you want to go easy on it. Wrath is like tomato paste. You know, you get too much of it in there, and you. Oh, hey Ryan. Yeah, you get too much wrath in your in whatever you're making, and that ends up having like negative effects on you overall and on the final product. Cool background there. Thank you. Yeah, we spent we spent a little bit of time messing around with it before he came in, but yeah, I think I'm very happy with how it came out. Thank you. Yeah, like I don't know. I understand that a lot of people work well with spite, you know, so to speak. I like they feel motivated by their feelings of spite. But I feel like past a certain point, you can't just kind of depend on that spite anymore. I feel like past a certain point, you need to be able to do something for yourself. Otherwise, it feels hollow. And again, that might not be the case. I don't know. The thing is, right? You can't ever really say, "Oh, revenge won't fix this. Oh, revenge wouldn't fix them," because the thing is, everybody reacts different to like the feelings of revenge. Some people do. I feel like must feel fulfilled to some extent by getting that revenge. That doesn't mean that it's healthy, or doesn't mean that it might be justified in some cases. But I'm saying it might work for you. Consider revenge. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. Every single time I've tried to like have quote unquote revenge, I don't think you could even call it revenge. It's more like a petty contrivance. I feel like I've regretted it most almost immediately. So I don't know. I feel like it's not worth it, but maybe it'll be different for you. All right. So now what we're gonna do? You never know. Maybe cigarettes won't burn your throat. There has to be at least one or two people running around who are just like natural born smokers. Like they took that first hit of a Marlboro and were like, "Yeah, this is mid." Not to say that they should smoke. They absolutely shouldn't. But I'm just guessing here that like in this whole wide world, in this beautiful broad world that we live in, there has to be at least one dude who can like take a whole pack of Newports and not cough even once on their first try. Did we ever figure out like why people are so weird about menthol cigarettes? I feel like I keep hearing stuff about menthol cigarette this, menthol cigarette that. I don't I don't think like do they have like a specific property or are they just like is it just something that's like prohibited, so it's more attractive. Is that the case? I don't know. I've never smoked a day in my life. I couldn't tell you anything. Although when I was a kid, I was fascinated by the idea of being able to catch the vapor from the humidifier in my mouth. Maybe we narrowly avoided the timeline where Vape Pabs is a real guy. I don't know. I like the idea of carrying a cool little gadget in your pocket that can do random stuff. But I feel like the fact that it comes attached to like something that you have to smoke, it kind of ruins the experience for me. I don't know. Maybe we should have like the best way that I can think of to describe the concept that I'm thinking about right now is like virgin vapes. It doesn't actually produce smoke or anything. It's just this cool little light up toy. Maybe what I really need is like a henshin belt or something. I know some Toku people have a lot of fun with their belt, playing around with their belts. So maybe we just need like tiny versions of those to mess around with. I don't know. Maybe what I'm looking for is a stim toy, not a vape. I feel like that would make more sense for my brand. Yeah, I might be looking for a fidget spinner. I did end up owning a fidget spinner or two, if I recall correctly. Those were pretty big when I was around in high school. A fidget spinner tension belt. That would go kind of hard, honestly. A little bit of like the old Ichigo belt wind turbine thing, but instead it's just like a fidget spinner. I think we could make it happen. I think that idea has legs. I do think so. I don't know. I see people on Twitter sometimes posting up like their merchandise, right? And sometimes they have like these very interactive, cool little charms. So I'm wondering how difficult it would be. I don't know. I feel like it'll be. I feel like we passed the peak of customized fidget spinners. Like I feel like if I had this idea back in like 2017 question mark, I feel like I would have been easily able to find like 400 plus Alibaba sellers who could make that dream a reality, and had the low scruples to breach copyright like that. But nowadays, I feel like that would be much more difficult. Of course, it would be based to have it so that you insert the spinner before actually spinning it. That would be mighty cool. I will. You are cooking here, Ryan. You are cooking. That would be cool as fuck, honestly. To make Geats the most Zoomer ass show possible, we need that. We should have had those like the belt magnums have little fidget spinners. I'm very into toyetic gadgets and doodads. Hmm. Yeah. Honestly, I think a fidget spinner wouldn't have benefited me very much in a learning environment, but I do like playing with stuff in my hands. So I don't know. Maybe I need like an acoustic fidget spinner or something like those like weighted stone ball thingies that you see in like old martial arts flicks. May I could have used a pair of those. I forgot the actual pin part on this one. My fault. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Did I do what? Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I did one too many. Didn't I? One last count. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, no, I did one too many. But I don't want to get rid of any of these. But if it had to be one. I guess maybe this one up here would have to be the one to go. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. I haven't seen a lot of episodes of The Weakest Link, but I saw one episode of it. Actually, no, I've only seen one episode of The Weakest Link, and I have forgotten pretty much everything else about that show. But I do remember the way the lady told a contestant, "You are the weakest link. Goodbye." And then I feel like they got set on fire or something. I don't know. I don't remember that much about the show. Wasn't very noticeable. The other pins have good locations. Thank you. All right. I feel more confident in my decision now. All right, and just smooth this out. There we go. Got it. I remember back when I was doing the first issue, because I originally made the first issue entirely in black and white and then did it in color. What I ended up doing is that for a lot of the coloring, or for a lot of the shading, I actually used a lot of darkened layers, and it's very subtle, but you can see that sometimes because of the like rasterization, not the rasterization, the aliasing on some of these, it actually doesn't work out as intended. So this color that I have here isn't actually darker than this color here, right? Which is why it has a little bit of the yellow hue from the background. That's like 2 pixels, and this is going to be like a whole page. And so I don't think it's going to be particularly noticeable. We're good. We're good. I'll know, though. And honestly, it is going to eat at me. But I'm going to forget. But I'm going to pretend to remember to forget. Okay. Well, actually, earlier I was talking about how I feel like I don't have a lot of graphic design experience. But that being said, recently I saw a poster for that anime, Blue Lock. Now, Blue Lock hasn't really been on my radar. I've had other titles that I've been interested in, and I'm not that into soccer, or football as its proper name is. So I never really tapped into Blue Lock. But I will say, hang on. I don't know if you guys have seen this one. Where's the... Oh, here we go. Hang on, I'm gonna take a screenshot of it real quick. I will say that at least I look... my sense for graphic design is a little better than having these dudes look like they got, like, fart gas radiating around them. I feel like this could have been a... I feel like you could have used a different color, maybe. Like, I don't know, maybe that's the color for the show. I'm not familiar with it, but I feel like this might not... Especially with the other dude covering his nose like that a little bit. I feel like you could have made better decisions with this. The soccer chat aura? Yeah, God, what... From what I understand, like Blue Lock is like an elimination game, but with soccer. Is that what I understand? Well, no, that is what I understand. But do I have that right? I don't know. Are there any people who've watched Blue Lock? If it was blue, it'd be better. It would be a little bit more appropriate, yes. Yeah, basically. Huh, all right. Honestly, I feel like it would have resonated much better. Me being like a Western, for all intents and purposes, a Western man audience. Could you imagine if this was about basketball instead? Like, I feel like people would have jumped all over that shit if it was basketball. God, the crossover between that one guy who allegedly missed shots or whatever. He's literally one of the most famous basketball players of our time, and I forgot his name. LeBron. Was it LeBron James? I think it might be LeBron James. But yeah, like I feel like if this was about basketball, it would have been game over from day one. There's a lot of greats. That's true. There's a lot of people who are really good at basketball. I don't think it was LeBron James. I feel like LeBron James is still like the guy that everybody looks up to in terms of basketball, or is generally hated because he's good at basketball. Jordan, Kobe, LeBron. True, true, true. Right, and I'm gonna blur. I'm gonna build these up a little bit more, and then I'm gonna blur them. God, I will say, I feel like football like soccer/football tweets have like genuine hatred in their hearts, but I feel like basketball tweets are some of the funniest shit I've ever seen. Like, hang on, where is I had one saved around here somewhere. Where is it? Like, it's this guy. Hang on. Where is it? Somewhere in my hundreds of images. I have so many fucking images. It's a little bit troublesome. Oh, here we go. Never mind. I found it. I'm a genius. Durant ain't stroking like normal. Just say he's missing shots, dude. I didn't forget your 1,000 tabs images. Mm-hmm. PSA. PSA to the NBA. Nikola Jokic is coming over this year. Picked by the Nuggets at number 41 in 2014, he will dominate everything you have and laugh. I don't know. I feel like that's just a really good tweet. Oh yeah, my 1,000 tabs of images. I got it down to like 13, 12 the other day. It was I'm pretty proud of myself for it. Not really, but I did get it lower recently. The problem is that it's never going to be zero. That's the main issue. Is that no matter how many dents I put into it, there are some things that I just don't want to not have saved in my tabs. So it's just never going to be zero. So if you're expecting it to someday be whittled down to like maybe, I think I can get it sub 100, maybe. If I have like a month of time off and can just like go through everything in there, I can get that to sub 20 no problem. But sub 10 is impossible. Sub 20 is like the upper limit of my capability. Sub 10 is like keep dreaming. Do not ever assume I will not be hoarding images. My computer would reach out and choke me at this point. That's the beauty of it, is that even if I was using a weaker computer, because it's all just like storing the information of tabs, right? It's just like links and such. It's relatively lightweight. It doesn't have them open. It just has like the information about where to find them on the webpage. Like if the webpage is no longer available, I won't be able to access that anymore, which is why occasionally I do go in there to clear it out. Well, I don't know, maybe your computer is just built slightly different. That is also a possibility. I don't know. My life became a lot easier once I started installing OneTab, but I will admit it's become complicated in ways that I did not expect afterwards. All right, I think with that we can move on to shading Hawk in here. Hmm. No, that doesn't make sense. Getting a little warmer. God, I don't know. I feel like the computer that I have now doesn't necessarily love me. I don't know. I feel like I've had computers that I felt like they loved me, but I feel like the computer that I have right now, like the one, my main workhorse computer, doesn't necessarily love me, but it has affection for me as like a coworker, right? It understands. We are like professional friends with my current computer. My last computer kind of hated me a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it's because I didn't fully understand the way to set it up. Maybe it was because like I don't know. Maybe it was just like a perversion of fate that led me to it. But I feel like my old computer had like some fucking problem with me. Like I would just randomly not play audio on some web pages. I remember that at one point I tried to use a DAW called Cakewalk, and for some reason after that I couldn't hear out of the earphones properly because like some kind of like weird virtual channel shit had been set up. I don't know if that was Cakewalk's fault because I didn't see that being like a problem with anybody else on like the forums. So either I was the first of its kind or my computer was just fucking over with me specifically. When I was younger, I did inherit an old Dell computer from my dad when once he upgraded to like his work laptop. And I feel like that computer loved me. I feel like the old Dell that I used to have loved me. Not the Lenovo IdeaPad or ThinkPad that I used before I got my like nice computer. That shit kind of hated my guts, to be real. All right, I'm gonna try a slightly different approach to shit. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to redo all that work. I'm going to do that and put this in a different layer, and now I'm gonna redo it again. I think what might also be hurting me here is like a lack of light direction. I feel like I don't know where the light is coming from in this panel. Okay, then over here. Okay, this one feels a little better. This is feeling like it's going somewhere. Okay, put this one here. This one out here. Nope, 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 nope. Also, it doesn't feel quite right. What's going on? Maybe instead of trying to do solid fill, I do a little bit of cross-hatching. That might be the key here. Okay, this is not what I intended to have happen, but this does give me a good idea. Never mind, I'm gonna keep that pure. Maybe if I increase the hardness of this one. Nope, still not as good as this. Unless... no. Maybe if I use a gradient erase tool, it'll feel a little better. Or maybe I need to deploy it in other places for it to feel right. It seems like this one's going to have a complicated solution. Okay, increase that by 1. Yeah, okay, that kind of works. The only issue is that now I'll have to do that same thing for all the other bits of ribbon, which might take a minute, but that's fine. I already saved a bunch of time by not having to do a background, so I'm feeling generous with the production values on this page. Does it just me, or does, if you squint your eyes, does this bit of the rag look like a small glove flipping you the bird? Fascinating. All right, so I think for this one it would happen around here, and then just in here. Just in TV. Honestly, this might make me sound like a hater, but I do think Justin TV was a worse name for the platform than Twitch. Like Twitch feels like weirdly odd. You know, I feel like Twitch doesn't have the best, shall we say, associations with the word. But I still feel like I feel like I would still go to a website called Twitch more often than I would go to a site called Justin TV. I don't know. That still feels like I'm slandering Justin, the Justin in question, though. Right? I feel like I'm like eating at KFC while making fun of Colonel Sanders. Like that guy founded this place. I don't know. Maybe the Justin in question is kind of a scumbag, and I'm right to mock him. It's hard to say. For a platform that I use as my main means of engagement, I don't know a whole lot about Twitch. Well, what can you do? Some people depend a lot on internet without knowing how that works either. So I feel like maybe I'm not the worst off in this situation. Sanders didn't name KFC after his first name now, did he? You're right, actually. Hang on. Hater mode resumed. In retrospect, that is actually dumb as hell. Why would you name your first name, especially? I feel like, I don't know, I feel like, if it had been your last name, I feel like that's almost professional, right? That's like a law firm. That's like you're putting your last name on this. Like that feels like official. That feels reasonable. However, if you put your first name on there, I don't know, that's kind of whack. I don't know, it's too chummy for me. It's like if it's your last name, you're maintaining a certain degree of professionalism. If you're calling your platform or your app your first name, or like for example, if you offered me a sandwich named like Johnny's sandwich, right? I'd be like, oh, all right, I can understand that. I feel like a guy named Johnny offering me a sandwich, that feels normal. But if it's like Johnny's Bank, I feel like at that point you've crossed the line. I feel like at that point it's entering like a almost sort of like this corporation is your friend kind of thing. Like I'm like on good enough terms that I would under that like I'm friendly enough, right? That if there was some random dude named Johnny who was like, "Hey man, you want to try my sandwich? You want to try my special sandwich that I have concocted?" I would be a little bit hesitant. I'd be like, "I do have a normal sandwich order in mind, but you know what? I feel adventurous today. You know what, Johnny? Plate me up, Johnny. Sam me up. Hit me with your best shot, Johnny." But then if a guy named Johnny was like, "Hey man, you want to invest in my fucking bank?" I would be like, "Well, Johnny, let me get back to you on that. I might not. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not sure about my prospects right now, Johnny. My portfolio is looking pretty strong already. I don't know if I want to mess with that balance, Johnny." What happened to calling your? I feel like there's not enough like there's plenty of nepotism, but there's no like generational businesses anymore. Like most companies are no longer called like something or other and sons. I feel like you used to see that way more often. That or Mumford and Sons is like seriously overselling me on the concept of how many things that were called something or other and sons. Were the Mumford and Sons guy actually family? I feel like that's a weird thing to suspect to not be true. I feel like they probably were, but I feel like I can't know for sure. The only reason I know about their band is because I watched a Little Lion Man AMV for Homestuck way back in high school. Otherwise, those guys are strangers to me. I know not of their portfolio or their music, of their discography or their music. I forgot that if it's a music artist, it's called a discography, not a portfolio. Another thing that I'm going to do real quick is like over this laser burn, I am going to add, in addition to like the normal skin shading, into the conventional skin shading, shall I say. I'm also going to make it so that the skin around the area is kind of like red and burnt. These are supposed to be lasers after all. I don't know. Maybe KFC would have been in his hands longer if he didn't. From what I recall, Colonel Sanders did start like KFC, right? Like Colonel Sanders is not a Ronald McDonald-esque mythological figure that they later came up with to appeal to customers. Like that was a real dude who sold his likeness to the corporation, which would eventually become KFC. But I don't know. Maybe he would have had a better run of things if he had named the place after himself. I know. There's a strong sentiment of corporate buyouts are bullshit, but I do feel like we don't appreciate enough that that's just kind of the way it's been since day one. It's sad, but that's how it is, I guess. Hopefully there will be more methods to find a way to carve your own path soon. But in the meantime, I hope like all of those employees that got laid off have somewhere to land their feet on. This is gonna leave a real sour taste in my mouth. I have my plans to play um I forget the name of it right now. Hi-Fi Rush. I have my plans to play Hi-Fi Rush. Maybe not on stream, but eventually. And I feel like that's going to leave a real bitter taste in my mouth once I finish that game. I don't know. I felt like this way about like. I beat Disco Elysium before Zaum got gutted and destroyed by the corporate owners, but I don't know. Like it must be such a strange and different feeling to play the game after that. I don't know. You can't divorce a lot of things from their context, I think. So I feel like it's always going to be in the back of your mind now. Well, I say you can't. It's possible, but it's very difficult. Well, I guess it might be some more difficult for some people than for others. Okay, then over here. Shrink this down by, I'm going to say 4 pixels. All right, shrink this one down by 4 pixels too, but instead of filling it up, we're going to actually make this part the unshaded part. Okay, then I forgot to draw the belt. That's fine though. Just a little bit of an adjustment. Okay. Here we go. Okay. A little bit of shading for this arm too. Where's some shadows for these gloves? I'll take this one. Also, I should save my work and check if I'm doing a time lapse. Yes, I am. Let's go. I don't think I exported the time lapse for the last page, but that's fine. That just means it'll be a surprise for everyone once we do get around to making that or exporting that. God, there was this video of a time lapse going around from Twitter. I think I talked about this a little bit on my own response tweet. It was very impressive because you could really get a good sense of the scale of the work because of the fact that the artist didn't seem to use like either they don't record Control C's or they deliberately just made the entire piece without hitting Control Z even once. See, normally when you have like the system built time lapse, the time lapse does not capture anything that you Control C'd. Like it just erases that from the recording. But the thing is, because of that, you also don't get a truly accurate sense of the kind of like work that went into the piece, unless you just deliberately choose to not include that in your time lapse. So I respect that artist a lot. It must have taken a lot of discipline to do it without hitting Control Z. At least that's how I assume they did it. I don't know. Maybe some apps are different and or maybe they do record Control Z's. But even if they had recorded Control Z's, it either would have gone by so quickly that it couldn't be appreciated, or they still didn't use it because you could see that the whole creation of the painting was just like one. Smooth might not be the right term. One flow. Like there isn't any point of the video where you kind of like lose track of what the artist is trying to do. I think that makes a pretty strong time lapse. You know, like in English classes, part of the thing that they grade you on is not just like the content of your presentation, but your ability to like order that content as well, right? To not only present your arguments and create arguments, but also the cohesion of those arguments. I feel like there is a trick to doing good time lapses, and that is having like strong cohesion in how you not perform, but not generate, but draw, essentially. The way you draw. Because you might have like a very good drawing on your hands at the end of the day, but maybe like you were so all over the place that it's very difficult to keep up. Okay, then over here. That should do it. Actually, the shading will come in from up top, right over here. Is this the face where where the kiss would be on? I think so. Oh wait, no, I did add that earlier. I'm so glad I remember that. I really am. I don't know. Sometimes when I do that, it does feel like I'm taking care of myself. You know, most people when they talk about self care, they talk about properly resting. They talk about properly exercising, eating well, having all your nutrients. I think what they don't consider is that sometimes self-care looks like remembering to draw something so you don't have to draw it later. It's like the equivalent. It's like the artistic equivalent of like eating all your vegetables so then you can get to the desserts. Let's see. Close this up. Hold on, maybe like this. Nah. I think painting in the whole thing was better. Although maybe with just a tiny bit of this. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. All right, I think next is the legs. Normally, I don't bother shading the boots because they're already a pretty dark color, but I think in this case, it would be justified if I gave them some TLC. You know, something that I found kind of interesting is that the things that have made me want to quit my job weren't like, you know, obviously sometimes I get frustrated in my job and I'm like, maybe I should just quit. But weirdly enough, the things that have motivated me to quit weren't like the frustrations of the job, but rather the fact that there's some stuff I can't talk about that happened in my job without like being divorced from the job. I'm not like under an NDA, so to speak. Obviously, I think my job does appreciate the amount of like ambiguity that I give it, but I'm not under any NDA specifically. And most of these are just workplace events, but I feel like I don't know. Sometimes I'm tempted to quit my job just so I could tell some stories about it. Like that's the main driving temptation. Not the hours, not the actual work itself. Sometimes I really just want to be able to like tattle on some shit, on some wild shit that happened, but I feel like I can't. This is a cross I have to bear. Okay, then over here. Recently, I watched this video about like the launch of the Xbox One. So I am so out of touch with like console gaming that I had forgotten that after the Xbox One, they announced a whole ass other console, the Xbox Series X. I forgot that the X existed. I forgot that that was like an actual real console you could buy. I'm like, huh, you know what? I don't think they ever upgraded from Xbox. Oh, no, they did. Yeah. It's very interesting in seeing it in retrospect. It's also very beneficial to me because every now and again I kind of forget what happens to stuff. Like I remember, for example, I remember that there was like a lot of outrage at the DRM on owned discs, right? And the always on thing of the Xbox One. But for example, I didn't remember how that got resolved. Like for example, they ended up lifting the DRM ban so that you could resell your games and share them with friends. But like at the time it was brought up during the video, I was like, hey, wait a minute, what did happen with that? I don't know. Every now and again, you're like you like remember something, and you're like, "Hey, wait a minute, what did happen with that?" I don't know. I kind of like moments like that. It either the situation has been resolved, in which case you're like, "Oh, okay," or it hasn't been resolved, and you're like, "They really didn't do anything, huh?" Like the other day, we were checking out there was this NASA application called the Sun Sketcher app, where they encourage people to take pictures, to take a video of the eclipse while it occurred. And so far, they haven't done much with it. Like a whole month has passed since the eclipse, and not much has happened with it. But that's like understandable because that's like a scientific thing. Like I wouldn't expect them to be like done already. I feel like it's reasonable that they are taking a long time to analyze the data of potentially hundreds of thousands of people who were in attendance of this once in a lifetime awe inspiring event. I feel like they get a pass. I don't know. I'm very tempted to give NASA a pass for just about everything, given that they put a man on the motherfucking moon, the sky. Like I feel like you have to burn through a lot of goodwill to take that away from your tally marks. Okay. Not to mention they're highly underfunded. I feel like that also gives me some sympathy towards them. Is that like what they have like a shoebox budget and they can't do very much for that. So I understand. I'm not saying I'm happy. I'm saying I understand. Oh, crunchy wrists. Yeah, this panel took a surprising amount of time to color. I wonder how long these next two are going to take. I feel like this one might take about as long as this one. So maybe two more streams for this whole page. And page 14, 15, 16. Wait, no, there's no 16. I should be able to finish this in time. All right, nice. I'm technically not working with a hard deadline, but I kind of want to finish it before the end of next week, if possible. I've got some free time coming up this Saturday, so I feel like I might be able to do some stuff with that. But that remains to be seen. Wait, don't I have it? I have like colors from the other layers? Yes, I do. This feels like the wrong color. No, it's right. Okay. Trust the process. Okay. And over here. Reduce the size of this. Patch this up. The good thing about the bright pink background is that occasionally it also helps me to see through some of the gaps in the color. Generally speaking, once I export the little gaps won't be so noticeable. But I don't know, it just feels good to have it complete. I'm someone who's very easily comforted by the thought of completeness. If I feel like everything is there and accounted for, I feel very much at ease. Well, I don't imagine that's a particularly rare feeling. Feeling that like everything is in its place makes you feel at ease. I don't think I could claim to have a particularly specific. There are some people who enjoy some feelings more than others, right? Not like they like a feeling that shouldn't be like, although that is also possible, but almost like they feel certain emotions much more strongly than you do. Who knows? Maybe there's somebody who has like a dopamine kick whenever they have a complete list. Maybe that's how video game completionists are born. Okay. Over here too. Here as well. I'm gonna add one right over here too, because otherwise it's gonna feel like the flow is a little bit messed up. Hmm. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. My fault. I should also remember to add some of these radial lines. Even though that makes it look a little bit busier, I think it creates a good feeling for it. Okay. Yeah, that definitely gives them a lot of texture. Much crunchier now. Or no, I guess they look smoother. I don't know. I don't like foods that are too smooth, if that makes sense. Like, they need a certain degree of firmness or coarseness for me to enjoy them. Like, for example, applesauce. I don't really care for applesauce. Like, even as a proper sauce or just like by itself, I've never been like the biggest fan thereof. I think I came out of my Gerber baby era when I stopped being, well, baby. That's an unfair assessment. It probably doesn't taste like Gerber baby sauce. Gerber baby food. Baby sauce is not a real thing, I think? I hope not. Are people like making baby reductions? Baby roux? Baby consomme? It's hard to say. God. The other day I saw a tweet about where somebody was like quoting the Full Metal Alchemist line of like, there's nothing like, equivalent exchange means that nothing can be gained without taking away something of equivalent value. While snapping a picture of those Oreo Sour Patch Kids collaboration things. Cookies. They would be cookies, actually. I don't know. I feel like we live in a very strange world. Anything could happen. For good, for better, and for worse. You know what? I think I maybe would actually enjoy a little bit of consomme now and again. Just as a treat to introduce them to the concept of like savory foods. Can babies understand the concept of umami? I feel like I can. I remember one time I saw a baby being given like a sip of like soup broth or like a bone broth, and the baby went like nuts for it. He wanted another spoonful immediately. All right, you got me there. That's pretty funny. All right, let's see here. Okay, over here. That doesn't seem right. Oh, there we go. All right, after this, I think we just need to fill in the middle of the bombs, and then we should be good. I think that'll be a good stopping point for tonight. Finishing up this panel. I don't know. Depending on like my, I'm gonna need to do some calculations to figure out how many streams of this I got left. Depending on that, it might actually be more than feasible to just do one panel per stream as a goal. With whatever I can manage in my off hours. Okay, then over here. Right. Next would be this inside part. Okay, then over here. I don't know, does it look better when it aligns with the outside ones? I'm not going to worry about it too much. Yeah, like that still looks perfectly fine. Okay. Now for the inside little pip thing here. These are my favorite to draw. I don't know. There's something that feels very natural about the way these guys flow. They're just like big commas. Okay. Am I missing anything from this panel? I think I've got everything. Amazing for those jet streams she's got. Something like for that might be useful. I think I'm going to thicken up the lines there a little bit too. Hang on. All right, what color did I have this as on the other panel? On the other page? Okay, I see. Okay, then reduce the brush size. Increase brush size just a tiny bit more. You know, it's kind of funny. I thought I was like filling out these lines, thinking to myself, "Wait, hang on. I've only filled out 2 of them. Weren't there 3?" Because I thought this one here in the middle was like the one for the right wing, but I had the completely other way around. Something about this looks off. Okay, then over here. Okay, then over here. Nice. All right, anything else? I think that's it. All right. I think if that's the case, we can call it a night here. Is anybody streaming right now? Oh, Zed is playing Strive with V. That's right. All right, let's go say hi to Zed and V. All right. In the meantime, I'll be back tomorrow night with more of this. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe out there. I will see you all tomorrow. Later. Bye.